Welcome to a summary of our book club meeting, Parenting and Non-Religious Spirituality. I'm Efrat Shokef, Shamanic Energy Healing, working with children, teens, and families. And this is my colleague and friend to the book club and more. And we are a peace explorer. This last meeting, we read the book by Robin Wall Kimmerer, Braiding Sweetgrass, Indigenous Wisdom, Scientific Knowledge, and the Teachings of Plants.
Yeah, what an extraordinary book. A unique book, as we just explored. It's what Robin does is she really dives into the wisdom of I call it the greening of ourselves. We're coming back to be nature. And the approach she chooses for that is really using her botanical knowledge as well as her indigenous knowledge and using the wisdom and the language of the plants to remind us of how it is to be human and what we need to learn from that. And it's not a short book. So she uses story. She uses story to bring her message and across. And I feel in that book what I would love so much about it, as nature's pace is much slower than normal human speed up life. So this is what I see in the book also, that she uses a slower pace to really allow the reader to dive into it. And from our perspective, when I look at it from the parenting point of view, I feel getting a deep teaching. And at the same time, as she also explores her relationship to her daughters, I feel like it's something I can hand over, I can give. It's for me, and I can transmit it to my children, and that feels really wonderful. So this is what comes to mind in the beginning, in the first thing. What do you think about it?
I'm really glad we brought this book to the book club because, wow, so many pieces. First, the energy of the book. I think that as parents, as spiritually aware parents, as parents who are questioning and asking questions about how we parent, what kind of world would we like to create for our children, what kind of human parents we would like to be, we are dealing with energy. And there are very few books that I read and that we read together that I feel I'm cradled by. The energy just flows, and it's enveloping, exactly like nature. And so even just that sense of being, the reading offers us the reminder, even before we understand how nature works, the botanics and the science behind it, which she's weaving in with her indigenous knowledge and her human, or of knowledge of being a human. And so that was an amazing gift, which I'm happy we received. I'm happy we offered forward, and I hope that by creating this summary, we are offering forward to additional parents that weaving of the reminder of possibilities that is handed to us, and it is for us to decide if we are taking it in or not. And then indeed the connection to nature, the stories, the weaving of our processes as a mother to young daughters, a mother to young adults who are leaving home and leaving her to continue her life, and that gifting of that is a piece that really touched me, that by gifting her daughters the knowledge of the earth, the plant, the gardening, she knows that when she will continue on. They will not be motherless, because our earth, they're connected to it, will embrace them, embracing them all along. But then you're not felt alone, and that piece of the whole process, the whole cycle of life in nature, in our human mothering. It's a beautiful book. I relate to the slow pace that you mentioned, and definitely a book for parents to read story by story, chapter by chapter, embracing the many gifts and ideas that are offered. And maybe some of us will not relate to all of it because our lives are different, because we live in a city and we don't have a garden or a piece of land that we can nurture back. But we can each pick up so many pieces on how we want to guide our children within their lives, and one by one, hopefully ripple the change. So that's in general.
And I also felt it's nourishment for me as a parent, if looking towards my children, but it's also really nourishing for myself. And I think that's so important for parents too, to get these ideas that you really can take in and that strengthen you and your connection, and also your trust. I think especially today, it's such an important thing that happens. And what I loved about the gardening is that the idea that once you love Earth, wherever it is, she will love you back. And this, as such, me being a mother, I felt safe again, which immediately trickles down to my children and the way I am with them. So this is what I really, really enjoyed. And another thing that I was reminded of is her wish to preserve her culture through language, because she comes from a Indigenous community, and there are not that many speakers anymore. And it's this preserving part that is also part of the book, which it touched me, because I feel that's a big gift and also a big message to us parents. There's so much to preserve for our children. If it's story, if it's language, if it's connection, if it's ideas, whatever it is. So I carried it on through the book. I loved it.
I'll share a thought that comes to me from I call it the other lifetime, before the car crash, before the NDE, in my research of global cultural in the corporate world. And so there are a lot of researchers examining who is assimilated, who fits in, who manages to best make a life when they immigrate, when they immigrate. And one of the keys is often about both adopting the new culture, but also keeping a sense and preserving the essence and of who you are, where you came from. And I find it's a question I often ask myself about, because we are walking into we are holding, both of us and so many others we are in the interaction with, we're holding a vision of a new world, a different world, and a human world where differences are valued as the different gifts that we bring together, and not as the differences that we need to be afraid of. And but then there's always that question. So from my background, from where I come from, what do I still need to keep? What do I walk spiritually aware, and what pieces do I still offer my daughters so that they know their roots? And it's not a question I have an answer for, but I was reading her book, and now you're mentioning this idea, and it was, yes, preserve. Be conscious of what you preserve, and she's very conscious about it.
Very much.
And she is offering us something that comes before those traditions that I come from the land. And my tradition is also very much related to nature and the land, but it is interpreted in a different way. It's a gift of remembering and recalling who we are from a very early essence for me. That connection to the land of who we are. And you read it, and I read it more than once, and it was, I know this. It was like this. We know this. It just says, but she's offering us a reminder.
Yeah.
And it ripples to our children in how we are relaxing into our own knowing.
Yeah. And also in a sort of it's sort of a responsibility, or also something to do, and it gives value to what we are holding and what the beauty that we carry forward. It's, to me, it's mostly about that one. This is what she picks up, that she picks up in nature. It's the beauty. It's one language that nature talks to us. It's through beauty, and this is what she takes, and it's also what she's taking from the past and she's taking forward. And another thing I really love about it, and it's reflected in my work a lot, whether I work with clients or I do in for example, the work that reconnects, it's the ceremony. And it's bringing back ceremony into daily life and giving meaning to it. Not just, okay, ceremony is important, but the way she expresses it, even nature is celebrating and transitioning and everything. So the idea of us consciously celebrating life as itself, and doing it through small things like we do in our shamanic practice, but she comes even more down to earth and more naturally. I think it's wonderful how she does it. It was very inspiring to me.
Yeah, and the example of creating your own ceremonies.
Yes.
As long as the idea and the intention of the ceremony,
yes,
is with the right intention.
Mm-hmm.
That one makes it. It's really, really beautiful. We said we would, there's so many to our listeners. There's so many, each chapter, each story holds so many gifts. So we can talk about this for hours. So we decided we would share with you, following what came up within the book club, a specific chapter and the idea, and it's called the Pledge of Gratitude. Mm-hmm. Do you want to go on elaborating?
Yeah, it's. I work with it a lot in the work that reconnects, the work of John Macy, as there we explore the field of gratitude a lot as anchoring in the world. But what she does is referring to Onondaga Nation, who are like, where gratitude is imprinted in the cultural structure and the political structure of each and every human being, and it's expressed on a daily basis. And the way it's done, it's simple, giving gratitude to more or less like everything that's alive and taking time. This what she says, like it can take 10 to 15 minutes, which is a lot in our culture. But once you do it and you give gratitude to stones, to healing plants, to whatever and whoever is around, it calms people down, and it forms a common ground, even for conflicting parties, for families, for any kind of community. And this is what I really, really like. And that it's like the idea that this gratitude is spread, like given to the whole world, and nourishment for each and everybody. I love that one.
Yeah. I related to it a lot as well. What a difference it makes when we prioritize each other, and each other, not just each other human beings, each other, all beings around us, and we express our gratitude for the abundance we offer one another. And then we don't take anything for granted. And when we don't take anything for granted, we don't take more than we need.
Yeah.
We offer more than we have. We just offer ourselves, flowing from an inner abundance. And I was reading, and she shares all the different a version of all the different texts expressed within schools. That's how kids open their days, and thanking the animals and the and the birds and the insects, and I'm not sure I'm precise to the order or the content, and the plants and the herbs, and each and every piece that is part of the tapestry of our lives. That's what children learn. That's what guides as a first action, not the competition, not being best, not who behaved best today. It's like it's a whole different essence of energy of opening one's day and opening one's life, because that's kids grow up, that's the door to their lives. And I was reading it and I was like, okay, so how do we practice a lot of gratitude here, but how do we weave that opening into our days?
Yeah.
As a ceremony, as an intention of how we walk, and in envisioning children receiving the nourishment that they need. Those sacred words that she shares within the book are such an important key in my feeling, and also it's a very clear guidance on how we wish to live. It weaves in all the into all the stories and chapters. The gifting. What do we gift?
Yes.
Do we gift something handmade, homemade, something from ourselves, something that is that our love is within the stitches or the baking, or it makes such a huge difference in terms of how we what guides us in our actions, in our intentions, in our words, in how we perceive things, and how we, and also is how we receive.
Yeah.
Because that's part of our challenge, I think, in the modern world as well. It's not just the giving and being grateful, it's also accepting the love. As you said, accepting that Mother Earth loves us.
Yes.
That it's, and that she loves everyone is something that we are not I did not grow up on that. And aware, and as much as I work on this, it is something that I am still in a process of opening up to, that love. I'm glad my daughters are walking already differently, but it's a process. So it weaves in everything.
Yeah, and what you said, like the opening of the day, they are called this prayer. It's called the words before all other words, the first words to be spoken.
Yes.
And I think this is key. Even if you speak them in your mind, although I feel like speak it out has really a different effect on everything. And to me, it's really connected to giving gratitude to the plants, for example. It has a huge receiving aspect, because then I can be aware, I can remind myself every day that they're giving nourishment to me, if we just stay with the plants, but it's more the sun, the moon, everything that surrounds us. And it sets a compass for the day, or for a meeting, or even for if in a family when you have a difficult situation going on. Starting with gratitude has a very strong effect on everybody's inner capacity to listen to each other. This is what I'm feeling. And it's a huge ceremony. Maybe one of the important ones. You dive in immediately. And I love it. So to me, the gratitude part, it's still a path of exploration, what it really does for me. And what you also said, it's like an opposite to consumerism. It opens up a totally new path. It calms down the mind that needs more, and that needs more to feel safe. And I feel, as families, and especially my children are going to school. I'm not homeschooling as you do, so we are also have more to discuss and to digest what's coming in, and especially when it comes to new computers, what. So gratitude is also for the children. It's a big help. It's a big help to make them to relax within who they are and what is important, and non-judgment and everything. So on many different layers, it's one tool we can use very strongly. And the book is full of these kind of tools. But for me, the gratitude, I love it a lot.
Yeah, and it's weaved, and it invites us to the essence. Another story that she shares that I think it'd be good as an invitation for others to reading the book as parents with the eyes of looking at it from an angle of parenting is her botanical explanation of the three sisters.
Oh, I love that.
And especially within that story, or the way she shares it within the book, how each one of them is staying true to who they are, staying true to their essence. And by staying true to their essence and their timing and the order they sprout, and they are in the highest form of serving all others as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is part of what we are called to guide our children to, guide ourselves to, stay in our essence, find our gifts and share the gifts with the world, and walk who we are. And the way she shares the botanical information about each one of the three sisters, how they grow, how they nourish the earth, all those processes, it is a beautiful examples of how a community is created.
Yeah.
Balance and harmony, or not balance, just harmony is created just by each of us staying aligned and finding our alignment along the confusion and the noise and the information that comes in.
Yeah. And what I love about the three sisters, if you look at the plants, like it's corn, beans, and pumpkin, all of them need space. Like they are really space consuming plants.
Yes.
But that's not a problem at all. And this is what I really like. It can be a big plant. You can, as a person, you can fully live your potential, and that doesn't mean anything. Like, we don't have to stay small in order to be in community, but it's about our growth and our being who we are, as you said, that we can fully give our gifts and nourish the others. I love that one about it, because I tried it in our garden and I was like, how are they dealing? And they did.
Perfectly.
Yeah, they're doing
Same here. Same here. Perfectly. Because there is room for everyone.
Yes.
When the land is nourished.
Yes.
When the land is nourished.
That's
we can talk about this book some more, and there are some inspiring ideas that came within the book club discussion. We truly wish to invite you to read Braiding Sweetgrass. There is also a version for young adults, so that you can share this book with your teens. I'm not sure about the first age. What age is it fitting? But always read books first and self-reference when you offer such books to your children. I think this is an important version, not just for us parents, the adult book, but the young adult version is an important and needed service for our young ones who, as she opens the book, they remember the war more than we do.
Yeah.
So we can nurture that remembrance, not after we had kids, but before they have kids, and bring the future in a generation, and go back to the beginning. You can see the links to our book club in the description, and also links to our website. And we invite you to join us in our discussions. Comment below, and see you in our next book. Thank you.
See you. Bye.